Welcome to the Blueprints podcast. I'm Isabelle Bertigam here with Michael Flory, my dad, and today we're going to talk about 3 remodels that Michiganders will never regret.
Man, I'm so excited.
I know. This will be a fun topic. So obviously, for a living, we remodel homes, right? We go in, we help homeowners transform the place they live into a home they love, and we get to see people do all kinds of projects. And over the years, there are 3 specific ones that have come to the top of the list that we over and over hear from clients. We love this space. Like, we use it all the time, and it makes such a difference for our family and our life. So we're going to go through those 3 today and give you guys insights into those 3.
Excited. Let's dive in.
All right. So the first one is 3 and 4 season rooms.
And I was thinking, as we were thinking about this topic and why I think Michiganders will love these types of remodels, especially the 3 and 4 season room remodel, is because we have such a 4 seasons state, which means that we got about 4 or 5 months that are pretty cool, non-usable, maybe rainy, times where you can't be outdoors. But I think as we go through
winters.
the list, we'll also find out that like the summers we have are some of the best summers you have. So if you haven't been to Michigan, you got to get to Michigan in the summertime, and people are discovering that because our summers are absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. So, but the 3 and 4 season room, I just, from when I did my very first room, probably 20 years ago, went back and met with the clients like a year or 2 later. They called back to do another project, and you just asked them how they liked the room, and just both of their faces lit up. Like, it became like the office. It became the they use it all the time. It was like the one room in their house that they loved. And I just remember the comment for them was just the amount of light that they got sitting in that room. It was, a lot of times the 3 or 4 season rooms that we put on, they have in almost as many windows as like maybe the whole back of a house might have, because it's just, a room sticking out 3 sides and windows on pretty much continuous windows around the whole thing. So you might have as much glass on that 3 season room, that 12 by 16 or 12 by 12 or whatever size it is the whole back of your house and all the bedrooms and stuff like that. So a lot of light and just an openness, airiness. We just had another client recently that we did a room for about 10 years ago, and they were really excited about the same comment.
Yeah, we had them back in. We're looking at doing another project with them, and her comment was, we love this room. It's where we have our coffee every morning. Like, it's where we do life, especially during COVID. So we built this room for them back in 2016. But they use this space as like their game room, and their family was out there all the time. And that was like where they hung out because of all the light. And it felt like you were outdoors, but you're sheltered from the wind and rain and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So really made a nice space for them.
Yeah. And so oftentimes we'll get a call and people are like, hey, we got a deck and we'd like to turn it into a 3 season room, or we want to do this. And, and then I'll meet with them and I'll, ask them more questions, and we'll find out like, okay, do you want windows? Because there's another one that's a very popular one that we haven't hit yet. We'll get to that in a minute. But the 3 season room and the 4 season room, kind of the biggest way I describe the difference is, if we're putting in a 3 season room, we're not adding heat or air conditioning typically to the space. Now, we could be putting insulation in the space. And so this is typically what happens. They're like, hey, we want to do a 3 season room. They expect it to be a whole lot less than a 4 season room. But the reality is, we're still building a room. We're still putting a foundation in. We're still putting a roof over the top of it. We got to side it. We got to put windows in it. Putting insulation in isn't really that much more. Putting heat and air conditioning isn't that much more, but they do start adding up, and they do definitely increase the price. But the biggest difference really is typically a 3 season room would just have windows, and a 4 season room would have insulation, heating, and air conditioning, and then plugs to code. So your electrical in a 3 season room doesn't have to be as sophisticated as it does in a 4 season room. You can have less plugs. You're not required to have as many receptacles in there on a 4 season room. So,
and really, I mean, the other way I describe it to people is 3 seasons room is more like an outdoor room, and a 4 seasons room is really an extension of your home. So it's like the doors are open,
or there is no doors, you just blow the wall out. Yeah.
Right. So it's really connected and just part of your home.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the thing I hear most from our clients is we love having our morning coffee out there.
Yep.
So that's a really nice time. I mean, you get the sun, the early morning sunlight. That's some of my favorite time to be outside, and it's nice to be sheltered from the wind and to be able to watch storms in that room as well. We get some cool Midwest storms in Michigan.
Yeah,
So.
and oftentimes when we put them in the back of the house might be flat and then it sticks out, and so it's separated from the rest of the living space, and so it just gives people another space to go and relax and really be outdoors, like you're on a deck but you're all enclosed and you don't have to worry about bugs and rain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good transition point into our second recommended remodel that Michiganders never forget. And that is, it's similar, but it's a little different. So that is screened porches or screened rooms off your home.
Yeah.
And so this is one that we do often. And you mentioned earlier, I mean, people transitioning their deck into a 3 or 4 season room. And this one's pretty common too, to have people call us and say, hey, we have a deck and we want to make it screened in.
Yep.
Specifically because of all the lovely mosquitoes and bugs that we get in the summer. And so it can be really frustrating. You have this beautiful outdoor space, but half of the summer, you're not really able to sit out there and enjoy it because of all the bugs.
Yeah.
So what have you, heard most from people over the years when it comes to screened in rooms?
Yeah, I think people are looking typically, they're looking for an enclosed space to get them away from the bugs, but also a more solid shade structure. So if somebody's got a south facing deck and they put this deck in or a patio in, and it's just when they get out of work, they want to go sit out there and it's just blazing hot, And so they were like, if we just had something that was solid over the top of us, we used to do a lot of pergolas. We still do some covered structures, that give some shade from the sun. But it really goes beyond that because it gives a roof structure over the top of it. And then the water's, they don't have to worry about water, and they can put different type of furniture out there. Maybe you have like an indoor outdoor floor as opposed to just deck boards. So there's a lot of advantages, but water is still going to get into a screen room, and rain and snow and things like that will come through the screens in the wintertime. But there's so many options with a screen room. We got, motorized screens that can roll up and down, because in the wintertime, the bummer about a screen room is when you're looking out, you do see the screens. They do, block a little bit. So instead of like being like an open porch, you can have both. You can have an open porch and then you can have the screens roll down. We're doing one of those right now.
Another thing that's really nice in screen rooms is to have a fan up on the top for some air movement and flow.
Yep.
And so we see a lot of people do that, and it really creates a nice space where you have some breeze in it, but it's controllable.
Yes. Yep. And another thing that we're doing more of is just putting like in not a full on heat system, but maybe an infrared heater or a patio heater, so they can sit out there in a 50-degree day in the fall. You're not going to heat the room up because there's no insulation in it and there's screens in it, but to have that radiant heat on you allows you to go out and have a great dinner or a great breakfast.
Yeah, or just even get away. I know I love those rooms where you can have a blanket and cozy up with a cup of tea and your favorite book, right?
Yep.
It creates such a nice environment for that.
Wait, we want to hit the last one?
Yeah, let's hit the last one. All right, so the last one probably won't be a surprise because we've kind of mentioned it. It's tied in to the other two, but that is decks or patios.
Yeah.
So actually having just a nice space where you can get outside from your home.
Yeah.
So, and we do a lot of these every year.
We've been doing a lot of them, and we saw a massive spike during COVID. The time of year that COVID hit, people got outdoors a whole lot more than they had. A lot of people started taking walks, and a lot of people started wanting to be outdoors because they were locked inside. People were like, I need to get outdoors. And they're like, we don't have a big enough space to be outside. And we want to, so the deck and the patio, I started this company really basically building decks way back in the day. People will still say to us, you guys specialize in decks, right? And it's like, yep.
Yeah, in fact, our name used to be Custom Built Decks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. So when we first started, that's all we did. And, there's such a nice space because you can put a table on there, like a dinner type table with your grill and a couple of lounge chairs, or you can have a chat set with a fire pit, and all of that can be built into
hot tub.
Yep. Hot tubs. And, there's so much that you can do. Outdoor kitchens. spaces that really allow you to be like, have another, 200, 500, 1,000 square feet of living space off of your main level of your house. If you have a walkout, that's where the deck is like irreplaceable. But if you have, if you're in a ranch and you don't have a walkout, a lot of times patios are a great choice. And then other times it's both the patio and the deck. So you might have a deck that gets you out. You might have a deck up there, and then you might transition down to a lower level, maybe down at the walkout basement level that you have your patio. But to be able to utilize your backyard and have an outdoor living space, having parties. I mean, people use these spaces for parties, eating outdoors. And Michigan is really, again, a beautiful state. There is a lot of good sun that happens in the
summertime, right?
Yeah.
Not as much in the winter.
Yeah. But I think because it's a limited time, people especially love their patios. Like there could be that thought of, well, we only have so long a summer, or there's the flip side of it. Man, like I live in Michigan and I want to enjoy those summer days. I want to have a space to go out and use and have it set up so I can use it. And so that's where the deck and the patio, I think, really shine.
And I think something you mentioned is this really is additional living space. And it's not just additional living space, but it's super customized to your lifestyle and what you want out there.
Absolutely.
Like we mentioned a couple things. You could have your hot tub out there. You could have your fire table. You could have your grill and your dining table. So it's a really great way to add extra space to your house, enjoy the outdoors in the summer, but also customize it to your needs and your wants. Obviously, we're a design build company and we specialize with helping homeowners through the remodeling process. And being a design build company, we do both the design and build in-house. There are a lot of other options. You can do the projects yourself. You can self-manage where you hire your different subcontractors and group them all together. And then you can also hire full service, whether that's a general contractor or a design build firm. But what would you say for the homeowner, you just touch on it, like the design side, for a homeowner who is considering any of these projects? Like how important is it to define and work through the design ahead of getting into construction?
I believe the value of having somebody design your space for you is really, you really can't put a number on it, because they're going to help you not only curate the ideas, the vision, the space, help you to lay it out. Because once you've gotten into construction and if you got to change something or something's not documented or specified correctly, I mean, there's so many horror stories, and I can tell you that more than probably 75% come back to there wasn't a good plan to get started with. That would be my subjective guess today, but it may even be higher than that, because so many residential projects get done with really limited plans. Even big new construction homes often are started before all of the selections are done, all of the design work has been curated. And so, you just miss out on the opportunity to actually get something properly estimated, properly designed. But if you get through the end of your project and you're like, man, I wish I had, added 2 feet extra on this space, because the design could have been, designed with the furniture in it. So you knew you needed a little bit more space. But so having somebody on your team, if you're doing a custom project, to help you with that is super important.
Well, we hope that we've inspired you guys to maybe even tackle one of these 3 remodeling projects this year as we're coming up on the summer season. But really our hope is that we gave you guys helpful information on 3 projects that we see clients come back again and again and say they love in their space, and that you now have the knowledge to know some of the design questions or some of the design considerations before starting a project like this.